Across industries, more teams are starting to incorporate AI into the work they already do. Sometimes it's obvious. An AI-generated meeting summary shows up, or a first draft is written from a tool instead of from scratch. Other times it's more subtle. A report loads faster, a workflow gets smoother, or a tool you've always used suddenly has new features built in. It's becoming part of the background of everyday work. Because of that shift, new roles have started to appear. And these roles make a lot of sense for people who understand how organizations run, how teams work together, and how ideas go from conversation to an actual result. AI is changing some of the tasks inside jobs, but it hasn't replaced all the pieces that depend on judgment, communication, and clarity. If you come from business, education, operations, HR, finance, design, or communications, you're probably already connected to the kind of work AI supports. You've been in the meetings where decisions get made. You've seen which projects move forward. You know how people communicate across departments, who needs what information, and how priorities shift. That knowledge is incredibly useful in AI-related work. Because the hard part isn't just the model, it's everything around it. The goals, the workflow, the people, the risk, the context. Many of the roles growing right now rely on those strengths. You don't need to reinvent your whole career or go back to school for a degree. What you do need is a clear understanding of how AI fits into the work you already know and a way to build new skills steadily without starting over. Let's walk through how that might look. AI-related jobs are spread out across many parts of an organization. Some are heavily technical. They involve advanced modeling, algorithm design, or deep research. Those roles take years of specialized training. Most of the newer roles land somewhere else. They focus on bringing AI into real work, choosing the right tools, shaping how teams use them, deciding where AI helps you and where it shouldn't be used. You might see roles like AI product manager, AI operations specialist, AI implementation lead, responsible AI coordinator, AI content strategist, or prompt and workflow designer. Titles vary, but the actual work tends to be some mix of analysis, communication, oversight, and problem solving. These are the roles that help organizations take all the talk about AI and turn it into something concrete. And that's where your background comes in. If you've led projects before, you already know how to break down a complicated idea and turn it into something workable. And if you've been the person who connects different departments, you've practiced the exact skills these hybrid roles depend on. Before you jump into tools, it might help to get familiar with the basics like how AI models learn, why they make mistakes, what training data really means, and how to think about accuracy. You don't need to dive into formulas. You just need a solid sense of what's happening behind the scenes so you can make thoughtful decisions later. You can get that foundation from introductory courses designed for non-technical learners. What matters is that you start to understand the vocabulary you'll hear in the rooms you're teaching. Things like fine-tuning, context windows, bias, hallucinations, evaluation, or data quality. When those terms come up in a meeting, you want them to feel familiar instead of intimidating. Even a few weeks of steady learning can make a huge difference. Once you've built that foundation, the next step is using the tools in small, practical ways that connect to your daily work. If you write or create content, try using AI to draft an outline so you can spend more time refining the message instead of starting from a blank page. If you work in operations, let a tool map out the steps in a process and see where it identifies bottlenecks. If you are in HR, experiment with summarizing a set of survey responses or drafting a clearer job description. These small tests show how AI behaves in realistic situations, not just in demos. From there, you can take on small projects that feel like a natural extension of your job, rather than leap into something unfamiliar. For example, if you work with customers, you can test a small chatbot prototype with 10 common questions and see how well it does. If you're in a role that involves data, you can compare 2 or 3 tools to see which one organizes information more clearly. If you create content, you can run an experiment where you compare engagement between fully human drafts and AI-assisted ones. Small projects like these show that you can evaluate a problem, choose a tool, test an approach, and talk about the results. That is the core of modern AI-enabled work. When you're ready to position yourself for a new role, start by looking for jobs that sit close to the work you already do. If you've led cross-functional projects, AI project coordination might be a natural step. If you've designed training materials or programs, AI learning and development might be a fit. Talking with people already in these roles helps a lot. Many transition from non-technical backgrounds and can explain what the work looks like day to day, how they prepared, and what they wish they'd known earlier. The shift into AI doesn't have to be rushed. You can build these skills gradually while still doing your current job. Start with understanding, then move into small experiments, then into projects that show your thinking. You've already adapted to new tools throughout your career. Software changes, new systems, new expectations. This is another version of that process.